For those of you stubborn butts like myself who love using crappy paper, this video is for you. Hey guys, it's Sam and it's finally here! The year and over a half long project is finally here. It's finally finished. Thank you guys all so much for sticking with me, and also a big thank you to my patrons and other Twitch supporters, and especially JP in particular, who helped fund this project. We here going through 7 different sketchbook papers to find the best cheap paper that money can buy for us watercolor artists on a budget. This is Strathmore versus Canson, head to head. Let's go. Quick disclaimer, I'm not a professional watercolor artist. I started this project pretty ignorant and just learned as I went. So I started off using cheaper tools like Aquash or Ohuhu water brushes, as well as cheaper paints like Koi watercolor. Later on, I realized you'll have better luck with these papers if you use more higher quality supplies, that's both brushes and paint. So depending on what you have, your results might vary. Also, all the papers listed will have Amazon links in the description if you'd like to check them out. First up is the Strathmore Mixed Media Spiral. It has 40 sheets, it is 90 pounds or 190 GSM. It comes in 3 different sizes. This is the 5.5 by 8.5 and it goes up to 11 by 14, that's in inches. So for pros, because it's a spiral, all the papers are in one place, nothing is loose, kind of makes it fun for flipping through. It also allows you to work completely on just one page. You don't have to hold down the book or the paper. The paper works well enough to go fairly dark with multiple layers. For neutrals, so it kind of depends on what you're into, the dry time is a little bit more iffy. It seems to be relatively faster than watercolor paper, but it seems to kind of depend. Also keep in mind I'm in a dry climate. I live in California right now. And there are also no perforated pages. So for the cons, too much water and roughness can tear up the paper a little bit. Not as much as some others on this list, but still there. Paper weight is also very light for watercolor, so tends to really buckle. Since it's a spiral, colors and water tend to leak through to the next pages, can also cause them to stick together or possibly tear. So my final thoughts, not bad for an on-the-go random studies practice, or if you happen to already have it, might as well use it cases. I've never found myself getting really angry or frustrated when we're working with this paper. So, final rating, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. I also really like the spiral. Next up is the Canson Mixed Media Spiral. Keep in mind this is not the XL series, this is a different one. This sketchbook has 30 sheets, it's 38 pounds, 224 GSM. It comes in 2 sizes, 5.5 by 8.5, which is what this one is, and it also comes in a 9 by 12. That's in inches. Some pros, again, spiral. I really like me some spiral. Weight of the paper is a bit heavier than the Strathmore spiral, so that's nice. There's a little bit, like a tiny minuscule touch of texture that the Strathmore Mixed Media Spiral did not have, so the initial painting grip is kind of nice. Neutrals, it stays wet for quite a while. It can handle dry mediums fairly well. There are perforated pages. It has a slightly more cold press-ish feel to it, especially compared to the last sketchbook, but like very, very light. The tiniest amount of texture. Some cons, buckling. The buckling is pretty bad. The paper really melts. There's a lot of inconsistencies. It tears very easily. It doesn't take much of any layers. You can't really go dark. Since it's a spiral, similar issues, colors and water tend to leak through to the next pages, so it can cause them to stick together or possibly tear. Final thoughts, I had a quite miserable time using this paper. The methods and techniques I was accustomed to from the Strathmore Mixed Media Spiral did not transfer at all. Even after shaking things up, Stream can attest I really tried, it was not worth it. This is why I have a Canson is cancelled command on my streams now. This is where it started. So, final rating, 1 out of 10. Just not enjoyable paper to use. Next up is the Canson Mixed Media XL paper. This sketchbook comes with 60 sheets. It's 98 pounds or 160 GSM. It comes in 6 different sizes. This is the 5.5 by 8.5, but it goes up to 18 by 24 inches. However, the 18 by 24 only has 30 sheets. Some pros, spiral. Again, I'm a huge fan of spirals. When painting slow, taking a lot of breaks with very few layers at a time, giving lots of dry time, it's not bad. Neutral, hard cover. The others were soft cover. The paper melts just a touch. It does have perforated pages, and it does have a similar super slight cold press texture that can handle dry mediums. just fine, actually. The cons. Seems difficult to get dark layers down. Water and pigment seem to float on top temporarily. Lots of lift even after being completely dried. It does buckle, but not as much as their other mixed media pad, the previous one. It can get this dotted texture, though that might be related to the paints I used. Colors are less saturated than watercolor paper. It has 60 pages, which is probably 60 more than necessary. Final thoughts. Coming into this one after the last Canson sketchbook, I had a better handle on what to do with their absolute garbage paper, but my patience was already worn thin, and this sketchbook was little better than the other mixed media paper. Dry media works great, wet media, don't bother. Rating 1.5 out of 10, just more disappointment, especially after that last sketchbook. Next up is the Strathmore Mixed Media Pad. This pad has 15 sheets. It's 140 pounds or 300 GSM. It comes in 4 different sizes. This is the 6x8, but it goes up to 18 by 24 inches. For pros, it's fairly thick paper, much thicker than the other papers so far. Holds the water decently for mixed media. It's glued on one side, and the higher paper weight helps with the buckling. You can easily get hard edges when painting if desired. Neutral, dries very quickly. I'm not exaggerating here. It's hella fast. The lack of spiral means loose sheets / artworks to keep track of. For cons, too much water and roughness can tear up the paper a bit. Not too much, but some. It kind of depends on how rough you are with it. Water and paint can leak onto the next pages on the sides. It can also cause them to stick together or possibly tear like the other ones. Brush strokes show and are somewhat difficult to hide and get rid of, mostly due to the extremely fast dry time. Again, no exaggeration. This paper dries very, very quickly. Paint can pool where the brush strokes stop, so when you lift the brush off the paper, this is again likely due to the extremely fast dry time. Final thoughts, if you're into showing brush strokes, getting hard edges, wanting faster dry time, this is likely one you'll want to try out and get used to. I've also used this paper as gifts in the past. It's a nice size and weight, and tearing it out makes the artworks easy to share. The rating, 7 out of 10. The heavier paper is nice. Next up is the Strathmore Watercolor Pad. This pad has 12 sheets. It's 140 pounds or 300 GSM. It comes in 9 different sizes. This is the 5.5 by 8.5, but it goes up to 18 by 24 inches. For pros, it's thick paper, can hold a lot of water. It's easy to blend on in a general sense. Did not pass the Galaxy test, I will get to that. For neutrals, it has a cold press texture, and it does offer larger versions with spirals without the glue to tear the pages. For cons, oh boy. Texture gets melty with water. It causes some spotty coloring later. It's very, very difficult to tear off pages. This is honestly a break in a make or break situation right here. The glue is just really gross. I don't know if I got a bad one or whatever, but it was just very difficult to tear the pages out. It also damaged slightly some of my artworks. There's some horizontal buckling due to the glue. The paper can tear with too much water or layers, similar to the mixed media pad, and the Galaxy test did not fare well with this paper. Final thoughts, super disappointing, especially since I'm a big fan of Strathmore's paper since the early days of my drawing. It's definitely workable if you have to use it, but can it be real nasty? Rating is 2 out of 10. I don't know if my Strathmore girl heart can handle giving it a 1 out of 10. Next up is the Canson Montval Watercolor Spiral. This sketchbook has 20 sheets. It's 140 pounds / 300 GSM. It comes in 2 sizes. This is the 5.5 by 8.5, but it also comes in a 9 by 12 inches. The pros, we back to spirals, yes. Initial laydown is nice, smooth, actually felt like painting on watercolor paper. For some neutrals, cold press texture, not everybody's into that. Doesn't melt as much as the other papers, but it does take quite a long time to dry. For cons, dotting issue at times, again, could be paint related, but not sure. Buckling, it does seem to flatten a bit later, but with more layers, it does tend to buckle more. I do have a video on how to avoid buckling, link in the description. There's some weird dry times. Sometimes it seems to immediately absorb, which leaves your initial brush marks. Other times just kind of sits on top for a while. There is heavy lifting, which makes layering more difficult. Final thoughts. The other Canson papers were so crap that it was hard going in without negative expectations. There was still some struggle and it was hard to figure out what it was that was wrong with the paper. And I think the issue was that the Monteville watercolor paper was so close, but just misses, which causes that same frustration that I felt with the other mixed media pads. However, for my rating, it was still decent paper. So due to its thickness, due to its watercolor texture and watercolorness, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a higher rating than the other ones, so an 8 out of 10. And finally, Canson XL watercolor paper. Spiral. This sketchbook has 30 sheets. It's 140 pounds / 300 GSM. There are 6 different sizes ranging from landscape to portrait. This particular one I have is portrait. It's 7 by 10 inches, but goes up to 18 by 24. For prose, it's actually very similar to the previous Monteville sketchbook paper. As far as neutrals go, the smallest size is this 7 by 10 inches. So for those of us like myself who like painting smaller, this might be a little bit of an issue. For cons, you almost kind of take the same issues with the Monteville paper and add maybe like 5-ish%. They're quite close in terms of everything. Final rating, 7.9 out of 10. So I guess my final thoughts. When it comes to these cheap sketchbooks, you can't expect too much. You're obviously gonna have a better time with 100% cotton brands like Arches and B, but for plein air, a budget, practicing, doing studies, or if you're not sure if you want to spend the crazy amount of money for something that's currently just an interest or a hobby, I think the Canson Monteville is the winner for me, with the XL being your next best bet if you can't find the Monteville. I've heard if you want to invest in anything, it should be the paper for watercolor. So if you do want to explore more with the medium, maybe get a little bit more serious, I would consider investing in higher quality papers later down the road if you can. But like I said in the disclaimer at the beginning, better brushes, better paint do make a difference with these papers. They do help make using these papers less of a struggle. In any case, if you want to catch more of my watercolor journey and my art journey in general, since I do more than just watercolor, definitely check out my Twitch live streams. And if you want to help support me in doing more massive projects like this, consider supporting me on Patreon. The link will be in the description. The links to everything, as always, in all my videos are in the description. But huge thank you again to everyone who followed me throughout this journey, this over a 1.5-year project. I really appreciate all the love, the support, all the laughs and good times we had together. Have you used any of these papers? Let me know how your adventure went with them. Let me know in the comments down below. And do you have a favorite cheap watercolor usable paper? Also let us know in the comments down below. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!